Hey everyone, and welcome to the much requested How to Play Starforged video. So the first thing you will see when you start a new game is this empty map and this quick start panel. Now before we begin, let me tell you that if for some reason this panel closes, you can always open it from the game settings, pressing right here on quick start. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select a rule set, and in this case it's going to be of course Starforged. Then we pick the UI theme for the Augur, and I'm going to pick sci-fi. Then come the modules, and keep in mind that the modules are the way that you can customize what content you see in your game. Since we picked the Starforged rule set, the Augur already activated these two modules for us, Augur Sci-Fi and Augur Starforged. Here on Augur Ironsworn, if you enable this, you will be able to use assets and moves from Ironsworn along with Starforged. Also, this one, Augur Fantasy, has all the armors and weapons for the fantasy version. If you want to have that along with your Starforged game, all you have to do is toggle it right here, and I will show you how that looks later on in the video. So we press apply changes, and now we go to the fun part, which is creating our new character. So to begin, here you select the appearance of your character. It could be male or female. Then we select the body, and let's say that I want to use this one. Now let's change the background first, and you have these filters right here, but I'm just gonna select the first one. If you want to try different things, you have all these different options that you can use. Now for the armor, you have all these options, and if you click on one of them, it will show you the variations for that specific armor. I'm going to start with something simple. I'm going to use this tunic, and for the pants, let's say I want to use something like this. Alright, now for weapons, I'm just going to pick any weapon here. We may change this once we select the assets that we want for a character or not. It's up to you. Okay, now we're done with the appearance of the character. Here we type the name, so let's say that the character name is Jason. And now we come to the Starforged part. Here we pick the attributes, and I'm going to use this array, and let's start with iron. It's going to be only one. Heart, let's say it's 2. Edge, let's say it's 2. Width, it's 3, and shadow is 1. Alright, now it's time to pick the assets for this character, and these are all the assets for Starforged. I want to play a scavenger character, so you can type here and it will filter the list. So we pick scavenger and we add it to the character. Next, let's say I want to play a gearhead, and we add it to a character as well. If you want to filter, you can press this button right here, and you see you have different types of filter. For example, companion, module, path, and so on. So let's keep those two assets for now. Alright, then we have this personality traits. This is not in Starforged. This is something that comes with the Augur, but I think it's useful to kind of figure out what kind of character you want to play. So let's say that my character is brave, and let's give him something somewhat negative. Let's say he is also arrogant. Alright, so we press here, accept, and now our character is created. Then comes the Pick Truths panel, and you have all the truths from Starforged. I'm only gonna pick the first one to show you how it works. So if you press on this right here, you have the options like from Starforged, for example this one, or let's say this one. You can, if you want to edit them, just click on them, type what you want, and then you press here to apply the changes. And you can do that for all the other truths, and also you can change them later on while you're playing. You don't have to do this right away. So let's apply the changes, and now we come to the main map. Since we're gonna play Starforged, I'm going to create a Starscape map. Okay, so here you choose one of these images. You could also upload your own. I have some videos on the YouTube channel showing you how you can upload your own maps, but I'm going to start with this one. So we press on create map, and that gives us this Starscape map that we can use. Alright, so we close the quick start panel. And let me show you the character sheet, which you access from this button right here. So this is your character, here are your attributes, here are your assets, and here you have, for example, your legacy for Starforged. Here you have your bonds, which right now we don't have any, but we're gonna add some soon. And here you have your impacts. So if you press here, you see that now you have this impact right here where your attributes are. Let's remove that. Alright, here we have the inventory and equipment panel. Again, this is not Starforged, this is something that comes with the Augur. You can unequip everything and you just drag and drop again to the character if you want to change it. If you press this button, you go back to the avatar customization panel if you want to change something. For example, let's say that we want to give our character an armor now. Good. And here you would swear your first vow. For example, let's say it's rescue our brother. So this would be our vow. Let's say this is an epic quest, since it's going to be our background vow. When you make progress, you press these arrows and this fills the meter. If you want to roll progress for a vow, you press here and it will roll progress. Of course, it's gonna be a miss because we don't even have one box filled. If you want to roll your stats, all you have to do is press on any of these buttons right here. For example, we roll iron, we press roll, and here we go, strong hit with a match without +1, so very good. If you want to see your moves, you press this button and you get the moves list for Starforged. Let's say we are going to try the compel move. So here we have the move. When you charm and pacify, you read all this stuff, and when you want to make the roll, you press here. And now we, for example, let's say we're gonna roll with heart. That will also make the roll, and now it knows that you make the compel move. Okay, so that's the quick version of how the character sheet works. Again, I'm gonna go deeper into it in a bit. But for now, let's create our initial sector, which is usually one of the first things you would do when you start playing Starforged. And the easiest way to add new things is just right-click anywhere on the map where you want to add, and here we press on New Location. If you are on mobile or tablet, all you have to do is hold down your finger, and when you release it, this will open as well. So we press on New Location, and here we have these options. I'm going to pick planets, and let's say our first planet is going to be a temperate planet. Press on it and it generates this planet. If you can roll a few times if you want to get something different. So let's say we want to use this planet, we press accept, and the planet will appear where you right click before. If you want to change it or change its position, all you have to do is drag it around and it will drop. And notice that it's sticking to the grid. If you want to remove that, you right click on the map and you press on disable grid snapping, and now you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to enable it again. Okay, now let's add a couple more planets. Again, new location, planets. Let's say we have this desert world, and I'm going to place it right here. And finally, I'm going to add one down here, planets. And let's say this one, tainted. Okay, and as you can see, you can roll a few times and you get different details every time you roll. We press accept, and these maps right here you can open any of this planet. You press open map and you can explore that planet. You can drop your character and you can also create locations here. So let's say we're going to create a settlement, and it's going to be, we pick this one, settlement. We get this Pegasus. Again, you have details. We press accept, and we have the settlement, and it even generates NPCs for you. So let's say that our character is from the settlement of Pegasus, and let's say that we have a bond with one of these characters. So you press bond right here. Let's say that we have a bond with Idris York. All you have to do is you drag its token and you drop it here, and now we have he's our bond. If we press here, we can change relation, and let's say he's our friend. So friend of Idris York, and then you can press on the token and we will see the panel for this character. Notice again that all these details were procedurally generated. He has this weapon, he has a bond with us, a bond with this settlement, and you can also change his inventory, sorry, and it works the same as it did for our character. By the way, if you want to remove something here, all you have to do is right click and it gets removed. Okay, I'm adding a weapon again. Alright, and if you want to create a new character instead of a settlement, you right click and you press on new character, and you have this list of professions that the character could be. So let's say we're rolling a doctor, and again you can press here to roll another, and we have all these options. So let's say this is our doctor character, we can place him here. And if you want to add him to this settlement, all you have to do is drag the settlement and add it to the bonds. And now if you open the settlement, you will see this character right here as well. Now let's talk about if you want to go to the main map, to the map, you press here, go back to main map, and that will take you back to the Starscape. Now one more thing you usually do when you're playing Starforged is you create routes. To do that in the Augur, you press this button here, drawing toolbar, and you have these options. Let's say that, let's pick a color, let's say it's blue, and we're going to create a dashed line. So you press and you drag and you drop it right here. Now you can change the color. Let's say that the route to this planet is dangerous. I'm going to use this color to represent that. And finally, let's go to the fun part, which is creating our ship. We press here on new vehicles, and here we press on this button, this plus sign, and we create our ship. Let's say it's called the Raven. We have these tokens that we can use for our ship. I'm going to pick this one, and here we have the Raven. If you press on it, you see that will appear here. Now if we press this button, we will open the Raven's character sheet, and you can drag it and put it anywhere on the map. So we have the Raven, this is where we are. Let's say that we start close to the planet Serak, perhaps here, and notice that you have all the attributes for your character appear here, as well as your health, spirit, supply. When you create a new ship, you should add the command vehicle asset. So let's look for that. Sorry, I believe command vehicle. Yeah, Starship is the name. Okay, so we give it to the character, and it will give it to the ship. So we have the Starship, so that gives us the integrity track for our ship. If you want to change the background that appears here, you go to appearance and you press on change background. So I'm going to use this one, right? So it looks way better. And here you have your vow. This is the same as the one on your character sheet. Actually, this whole panel is the same on both sheets, so it's easy to keep track of what you're doing. And if you open here on character, again you will see your character, you will see your assets. So if you press on your asset gearhead, now let's toggle the first one, you can see that asset if it helps you for something while you are on your ship panel, and you can open the Starship asset right along with the other asset. And here you can mark these conditions for your ship. So let's say your ship is battered, and it will appear here, battered. If you add another asset to your ship, let's say we add the missile array, we give it to our character. Notice that now we have the ammo track for the missiles. So let's say we start with 3 missiles, and we have here the missile array asset. Alright, that's how you create your starship in the Augur. Well, that was a quick introduction of how Starforged works within the Augur, but I want to show you some of the features that made the Augur so good for solo role-playing. The first one is this one right here called the game browser, and here what we have is everything that exists in your game world in this singular panel. So for example, we have our main map, which is this entire thing. And here we see the planets that are on this map. And if you open the planet Serac, you see the settlement that we added. You see the NPCs in that settlement, and you can press on any of them from here. So it's very easy to play your game from this panel. You have access to everything. If you want to add something, you can do it from this panel. For example, if you want to add a settlement to the planet of Nemus, all you have to do is you right click and you press on new location. And here, let's say instead of a settlement, let's say we want to add a dungeon, and it's going to be this Android factory. Alright, we have these details. We even have dungeon zones, so we roll a couple times. Okay, these are the potential foes in this dungeon, and we get a map for the dungeon, so we accept. And we see that now the dungeon is under the planet Nemus. If you want to place it somewhere on this map, we can go to the planet, and I'm going to close this, and you can drag it right from the browser. You drop it wherever you want. So here we have this factory with all these zones, and we can open the map for that factory as well. Alright, and you can drop some of these foes here. You can drop some of these zones, so it's easier to roleplay. And you can even do this. So this is the server room, and let's say we add also this one. So if you double click on them, you will see this option right here to drag the anchor. So we put that here, and then if your character is exploring this ruin, all you have to do is drag him from here, and there you go. So you have all the locations, all the characters, everything in your game from this singular panel right here. Now, something else that I want to show you is the journal. We have this button right here which opens this panel called the journal. I have a dedicated video about the journal, but I want to give a brief introduction here. So we have the journal. So let's say okay, I'm exploring the ruins, and what I want to show you is that you can record the moves that you make in the journal. So let's open the moves. You can also open them from this panel. This is the yes and no oracle with actions theme. I'm going to talk more about that later, but what I want to show you is that you can open the moves panel from here. And here, let's say what move should we take? I think undertake an expedition, for example. Okay, you read this, and let's say that you are keep under the radar, you're exploring silently, so we're gonna roll with shadow. So we press here on roll, and now we select shadow. It's a weak hit. Okay, we roll with shadow, and if you want to add that here, what you would do is you press this button right here, insert last roll. Now this is stored in our journal. We can keep writing, we can describe what happened. So it's a weak hit, so we managed to explore, but perhaps someone hurt us, or whatever makes sense in the fiction. And again, remember that you can open the assets by pressing these buttons. So you have the moves, you have the assets, you can also roll the attributes from here. So when you have this open, you have everything in the game literally at your fingertips. Very well, let's go back to the main map. Here we have the planets, and what I want to show you is this oracles panel right here. If we press on oracles, we have this action, theme, descriptor, and focus. So if we press on these buttons, it will roll on them, and we can reroll all of them, or we can clear them. So let's say we have action theme, so uphold rival. You would figure out what that is within your narrative. If you want to use the yes and no oracle, you only have to press this button. For example, let's say the chance is 50-50, it's slim, and this is the chance for a yes. If you need to roll a d100, all the moves and this panel as well has this right in the corner, so you press on it and it rolls. If you go to the moves, it's also here. You also have the yes and no oracle in the moves panel, and if you open any moves, you can roll from here. So let's say that we are making the price move, which has this table. So all you have to do is press here, we roll a 58, and you would look that up here, your equipment or vehicle malfunctions, and you make the changes that you have to make. So for example, let's say it's our ship, and it means that the integrity goes down 1 for some reason. So that's how I interpret this malfunction. And everything I'm telling you here is I'm going very fast because I want to keep the video as short as possible, but believe me, there's a lot more in the Augur. For example, you can also add foes. You right click and you pick on new foe, and you have all these lists of monsters and foes that you can add to your game, and they all have descriptions, and these are original monsters. These are unique to the Augur, and all you have to do is drag them, or if you right click, they will appear where they were. And the last thing I want to show you is how you can have fantasy equipment along with sci-fi. So sorry, I did that a bit fast. So you go to game settings and you go to modules, and now you can toggle Augur fantasy. We press on apply changes, and now if we open our character and we customize its avatar, which by the way you can also do it from the map, you right click and you customize avatar. So let's say we want to give our character a sword perhaps, so we press on fantasy, we filter by fantasy, and we have all these fantasy weapons, and you can filter more, let's say bladed, and we give him a claymore. Okay, and let's say we want to give him some other armor, we could give him this plate armor, or perhaps this leather armor, which looks really good, or this one, which I think fits very well with this Starforged aesthetic. It's not only equipment and things for your avatar, you can also create things like, let's say, a medieval settlement. So we go to settlements, and since we activated the module, we have these 3 options, and you can filter between fantasy and sci-fi using this themes panel right here. So let's say that we use fantasy, and let's say that we want to have a village. So this is your typical fantasy village or medieval village, and it will be created with these details, and the NPCs will also be flavored for this theme. So we press accept, and here we have our village. And if we open, for example, this character, the mercenary, you see that it has medieval equipment, and the description fits with a medieval/fantasy setting. This also applies to dungeons and even foes. So when we have fantasy enabled, you see that the foes are different. These are foes that fit more with a fantasy game. Again, you filter using the themes, don't forget that, because if you enable and you see sci-fi, you will not see any fantasy content on these panels. Alright, that's it for this video. I wanted to give you a brief introduction of how the Augur works when playing Starforged. I wanted to keep it as short as possible, even though it was 25 minutes. But as you can see, the Augur is a very complete program. There's a lot more you can do in it, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel and check out the other videos that I have uploaded. I go over many of the features, almost over every feature in the Augur with a dedicated video, and I'm adding new videos every week. I'm also making new updates every week, and if you have any suggestions, ideas, comments, please leave them below. And thank you.